Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes and back from Be More. Hello, Yolanda Starks White. How are you?
I'm great. Hello, Sybil Wilkes.
How are you?
Happy,
You're happy and you're great.
happy. But I'm sleepy, Sybil.
Why are you sleepy, Yolanda? This is
Because
usually your
I'm
nap time.
well, no, I'm getting sleep, but for the past few days, I just can't get enough sleep. You ever go through that? Like I'm getting like eight, however many hours. Okay, maybe not eight.
Aww.
But let's say 6 or 7 hours. But
Uh-huh.
it's so good. Oh God, sleep is good.
And then what happens after that?
I got some TV to watch.
Oh, but you could go back to
Oh
sleep.
yeah. But it's just that, oh my God, Gunsmoke not gonna watch itself, Sybil.
It
And
really is. It
they
really
do
is.
Rifleman twice a day.
Uh-huh.
Got to get it. And BMF is back.
And BMF is back. So you got the old, and you got the new.
Yep,
Okay, all
yep.
right.
How are you?
I am still going through issues with my sleep. Some weeks are really good and I can sleep like a full night, and others I sleep about 3, 4 hours and then I'm awake and then I have work to do. So, and then I'm not able to go back to sleep. So this is one of those weeks.
So
I
Sybil.
slept very well in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, because you like hotels. Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But Sybil, I want to say this. I want to make this declaration publicly. I always thought that sleep was important, and for my number of friends who can't sleep, but it seems like y'all revel in that.
I
Oh,
don't.
I
I
couldn't
don't.
sleep.
I
Well,
don't.
neither do they. That's just follow me on this.
Okay.
Because here's the deal: if you didn't, you would figure out how to get sleep at all cost. And let me tell you why the siren is blaring now. Is because Miss Pat with
Hmm.
the Alzheimer's Association,
Hmm.
I wrote an article for her, and it's something that we knew, but it is really, for some reason it hit me differently.
Right.
Lack of sleep is one of the major contributors to
Maybe.
dementia.
Yeah, I believe that.
And we've heard that before. We knew that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm like, okay, girl, you better stop playing it because I can't sleep. I just don't. And I was like, you better stop playing around and get that sleep in. I think I'm going to get up to 10 hours.
Well, get it from me because like even this morning, I think I might have gone to sleep around midnight, and then about four something, I was awakened, and it was my phone, and it had to do with some audio stuff. So I redid the audio, and
Wait. So you were awakened for work.
mhm. Well, I was awakened, and then just as I don't know if he had called before, but I was awake. I was awake, and then the call came. So it was work related, and then after a while, I took some valerian root, and eventually I was able to go back to sleep. But it's interrupted sleep. You know what I mean? And even like a nap, which is what this turned out to be. The second part of it, it was just okay. It was okay. But I knew I had to get up and I had to get started. I had to get to work. So it's kind of broken up. Does that make sense?
I'm not muted. I'm just,
I just I don't know what to make
I,
of that
and,
look.
and I don't know what to say. I mean,
I mean,
that's
it
not,
is what it
well,
is.
no, that's not good. And we need to do something about that.
Okay. Well, I do all of the exercises. I do the thing with your ear that you're supposed to put your pinky in your ear, and then you're supposed to get in touch with your parasympathetic.
Parasympathetic. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do all of that crap. I do it. I do.
And have you tried a sleep aid?
Hmm.
Those don't help.
Well, like I take valerian root and maybe some melatonin. Um,
I got something for you.
okay.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Okay.
I'm only
Like
kidding.
I said, I'm open. I really am open. I mean, I'm like,
Wouldn't it be great if I did, Sybil? Wouldn't it be great?
And I'd be like, what the hell you been doing all this time? Oh,
wouldn't that
God.
be great? Okay, Coy is back. We
That's
can
funny.
move on.
That's funny.
What happened to you, little girl?
I don't know. A last minute disaster, which seems to be the running theme of my life.
Nope.
No.
Cancel. That's something that just happened. It's all right.
Okay. It just happened.
Stuff happens.
Yep.
Mhm.
There you go. Yolanda is joining us today, Coy, and before we kick off, I want a couple of things I did want to say. Coy Malone is our social justice contributor, and we're going to talk about the story that she wrote, and especially timely for Women's History Month. And Yolanda, I did want to talk about our weekend a little bit in Baltimore. It was a great time. I want to thank all the folks at the CIAA for making our stay so comfortable and fun. And I got to see one of the championship games on Saturday before I left out, and it was a lot of fun. Really, I love to watch women's basketball. I think that they are some of the best athletes, along with gymnasts and things like that. But got the chance to watch them, and the bands were playing, and it was just really cool. And I did not get to stay for the men's basketball championship, although the way things ran, I probably could have because my flight was delayed. But not if I'd had the driver that I had. And I'm going to talk about that later because I don't know if I'm going to make this my express yourself question for the day.
Okay, I'm interested.
Okay, so hold on to that. But so it was the women's basketball was Fayetteville State, the champions over Elizabeth City State, and the men's basketball Lincoln University, the other Lincoln of Pennsylvania over Fayetteville State, and all the folks that we talked to and we're just so kind and good food, good people, and it was just a really good time. So, good weekend.
And that crab
meat.
sandwich,
crab meat, the world's most expensive crab meat sandwich. Yolanda, I did end up going to Whole Foods the next day.
Oh, you did?
Yes. But that was a good crab meat sandwich. Coy, we went to a restaurant in the hotel, and the food was, as you might expect, hotel food, being very expensive. But I asked for, because you go to Baltimore, you ask for a crab cake. I don't know where my mind was, but I asked for a crab meat sandwich. And the guy looked at me like, where are you from? Like, Chicago. And he goes, well, here we call it a crab cake. Of course. But it was,
that was standard.
I did too. I don't know where crab meat came from, although.
But Coy, what she said on the restaurant, she said, "Ooh, I want to get me one of those crab sandwiches." Did you hear Sybil saying that?
No. Something in her DNA must have kicked on.
That's how good it is.
It
really is. but I think I might have, Coy, because I really enjoyed them. Both times I had the crab cake sandwich and the bun. And I don't eat bread, but the bun was so good on that sucker. But anyway, okay. So I know. Really? You get that excited over a crab meat sandwich?
Sounds good.
It was good. It really was quite tasty. So let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. And a happy 187th birthday, speaking of hometowns, to my hometown of Chicago. 187 doesn't look a day over 186. So as it's worn, my town is worn. On a lighter note, Coy gives us a bit of history of Black women in country music. Now that all eyes are on country music, that Beyonce has made her stand and made history on the country music charts, Coy gives a little bit of history of Black women who led the way. Great story, yes. Coy.
Thank you. So this put a little bit of a spotlight on country music as Beyonce became the first Black woman with a #1 single on the U.S. country charts with her song Texas Hold'em. And there's recently a lot of pushback from different radio stations, including Oklahoma's KYKC, who refused to play her country music, stating that it wasn't country music. So, the Babe Hive got involved, contacted the radio station, emailed them. They also expressed their grievances on social media, and they did so until the radio station issued an apology and said that they would play her music in rotation. So With her new album, there are 2 country songs on there, as well as another one that she released a few years ago. So this kind of highlighted Black women's experience in country music. I can't name any Black women country artists, and I was very interested when I came across this piece from BBC that talked about this. And there are a small number of Black women in country music who have also been in Beyonce's shoes. So we have Reese Palmer, who is 42 years old. She's from Missouri, and she broke a 20-year gap of Black women in country music when she charted with her 2007 single Country Girl. And before her, there was Donna Mason in 1987. And she said she thinks it's pretty ridiculous that the history of charts in country music, there have only been 8 Black women. Only 8. And one of the great things about Beyonce's moment and achievement is that it's showing how artists, Black women artists, are tolerated but still not accepted. And it shows that country radio has always tried to teach artists that you have to do things in a certain way for your music to be played. So there's still a lot of pushback that has happened over the years. And even though Beyonce's song has charted now, it's still highlighting the disparities, and I like to say racial disparities within country music. There are a lot of people that love country music. My grandmother was an avid listener of country music, and I just don't recall any artists that reflect me, her, or you all. So there's also,
well, can I just say I take issue with that, because there before Beyonce there was Mickey Guyton, who was a young Black woman who really made her name in country music, and it wasn't easy for her, but she did songs that reflected her as a Black woman and the rest of us. And so Beyonce is not new to this game. Neither are these women, Reese or Miss Donna. But Mickey Guyton, and I think she's kind of moved away from it a little bit, Yolanda, if I'm not mistaken. She hasn't. She's still true to country music. And I would love to have her on to talk about this, because I think that, she's like, hey, I'm over here, and been fighting the good fight, but she's really good, Coy.
So a quick story that I probably will get in trouble for.
Are you revealing too much?
Yes. So about 20 years ago, the great Ward White had an opportunity to represent her, and he slept.
Oh no.
Because she's from Fort Worth.
Wow.
Yeah, you might. And did you advise him otherwise?
So I probably did, because when we came into this union, my whole thing was, he had some pretty well-named artists, and I worked with pretty
well-named.
And so my thing is, we don't do startups. We're too far in our career for startups. But I think that he really, really liked, but more importantly, he really liked her parents. Her parents, she comes from her family is exceptional. And she started out, she didn't start out as country. And but she hung in there, and she rolled the roller coaster, and she hit. So, another part of that is don't give up. But one of the points that I want to make, Sybil, Coy, I really appreciate what you do. I really love, for real, I tell you all the time, and respect how you are a champion for our people, us and all of that. But I would have to say, sometimes not everything is what they're doing to us. And just let me say this, just being in the music industry, I'm not sure that the Beyonce thing with the country music station was a race thing.
I said the same thing to George Wallace.
And George should know, and Coy, you should know, being in radio, a lot of times it's not about how great the music is, but in order for radio to pick it up, that's why they pay to play the same 4 songs. It has to chart.
And you can count on your watch at the time.
And at the time, it had just come, like it came out on that Sunday of the Super Bowl, and the people wanted them to play it on Monday. That's just not the way it works. It doesn't work like that in urban radio.
Here's a story behind that. So apparently that radio station said that they had no knowledge of this. They didn't receive any of the songs
Right.
and blah,
Right.
blah. When
Right.
in reality, the record label is who sends it out to the radio
Right.
stations.
Right.
So it wasn't that they didn't receive it. They refused to play it. They didn't want to. They said
No,
it wasn't
they
country.
didn't have it.
Right. They might didn't even listen to it, because if I am at a country place and I get something from Rihanna or from Beyonce or whomever, I'm thinking that it is a pop song. I'm not thinking I got to look at Carrie Underwood. It's a whole lot of songs that's on my desk. That's number one. But number two, record companies, well, I don't know how it works anymore, but you just can't send them out. I'm busy. You can't just send me and say, here, listen to this. You got to come work me and let me know what it is.
They probably already had this song. I'm not buying it.
Now,
I'm not.
you can't say that.
I'm not buying it. I'm not
Okay.
buying
That's
it.
your
I'm
job.
not buying it.
That's
I'm
your
not
job.
buying it.
Okay.
That's your
I'm
job.
not buying it. No,
Yeah.
not buying
But
it.
I am
Because
the-
if it was
but
Taylor
I-
Swift, they would have
but I-
played it.
Because Taylor Swift started out as country.
Don't matter. Did she send a country song this time? Who knows?
No,
they could have
that's not
They could have
fair.
did it with Post Malone. It
That's
is.
No.
Okay.
It's very fair.
No,
They would have did it
George
with Post
Wallace.
Malone.
It's not. That's not the way they do it, George Wallace.
Well,
That's
guess
not
what?
the
They
way-
have a whole department that handles that. They don't just get a song
They
the
might
day
have
that it
one-
comes out and then they have to play
have a whole
it.
department.
They have one person who's the music
Right.
director.
That's the department.
Yeah, exactly. One person. It's not even you, me, and Yolanda.
Sunday. You wanted them to
No, it
play
came
on
out to the
Monday or
people.
Tuesday?
It came out to the people on Sunday. Because let me tell you how music works.
No,
I have
no,
heard
no, no,
songs.
no, no, no,
I've
no,
heard
no,
songs.
no, no, no.
I've heard songs
Let
in the
her
strip
tell
club
us how
months
it
before the
works.
radio station. You
Okay.
mean to tell me this radio station didn't have it yet?
Okay, cool. Thank you for your story, though.
Shout out to K Michelle. Shout out to K Michelle, who is also a country artist now that goes by the name of Pudding. And I should have put that in the article. So everybody check her out as well. Yeah, she's doing great.
She really did, because she got a yodeling scholarship.
Yeah, she's a
so
yodeler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's serious about it. But let me tell you who my favorite country artist is, that she's not country, but she really should. That Kiki Wyatt, she got some country songs for you.
Mm-hmm.
She has a song now that is charting on the R&B charts that's really
Really
country.
should be country.
Yeah. Anyway.
So let me.
I'm with you. Don't stop. Don't stop.
No, I'm going to continue to fight, because I don't think you understand the way music works, and especially in this day and age, they're not a station that breaks music, and that's what I was trying to tell George. That's not what they do. Well, nothing.
If you read our article in our newsletter
I
from
did.
this today and a
Coy,
couple of weeks
you're
ago,
gonna tell me
it goes
if I
a little
read
bit
the
further
article?
into detail
Wait,
as to why there's racial
You're gonna
disparities in
tell
country
me
music.
If I read the article?
I'm telling the people to read the article, not you. I know you read
No,
it.
you said if you read it. That was to me?
No, that was to the
you.
audience.
Get out of here. I'm telling you, that's not the way it works.
But Sybil, we need the Coys in the world.
No. I have no
making it.
And that's why I commended her on doing the story. But I also say that I don't take it as a and we can go point counterpoint, and we're running out of time because I want to talk about my story too.
Let's take some comments from the listeners.
No, let's not. Let me finish my point. My point is, and as I told George, that's not what that station is designed to do. They play the hits. They're not designed to break a song. And I believe that little station in Oklahoma is just one of those.
Well, like Ward White, like somebody told me, you always got to keep your foot on their neck.
On the neck of the white man.
They didn't do it this time. They'll do it the next time.
They learned this time.
They've done it before. So, Coy, keep going. All right.
I do want to talk about history that was acknowledged yesterday in Selma, Alabama, and it was the 59th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. This is the day that some 600 Black people, after the murder of Jimmy Lee Jackson, were going to walk from Selma to the state capital of Montgomery in order to push for voting rights for Black folks. This was one of the attempts to make that trip. and the state troopers and other local police officials were waiting for all the Black people, including a then very young John Lewis, a younger Amelia Boynton, as well as Reverend Hosea Jackson. And this was an opportunity for them to, Hosea Williams, I said, Jackson, Williams, and they were starting out. And this is when they opened up the fire hoses and they commenced to beating the people with billy clubs, fire, taking them down with fire hoses as well as tear gas. They clubbed John Lewis almost to death. He had suffered a fractured skull. Amelia Boynton was knocked unconscious, and it was a horrific scene. But it was a scene that was seen around the world. And a few months later, that's when Lyndon Johnson called all the Black leaders to the White House, and they passed the 1965 Voting Rights Act. 60 years next year, and I'm sure they will continue to have the observations just to remind people of how far we've come, but how far we still have to go, because we're in the midst of a very important campaign, and people who don't know our history are saying that they're not going to vote, and we're not acknowledging the people that have given their lives and their life's blood in order to get to this place. And so that's why I wanted to do
I have
this
a quick
story.
question, just real quick. So this is the 59th year.
Yeah.
Has there been a marked celebration every year for
Yep.
59 years?
Yep.
So
Well, I
every
mean,
year
during
we
the
go back.
COVID years, there was, the virtual, the remote.
Oh,
But yeah,
wow. So every year we go back to the bridge, we do some type of
yep,
symbolic. Oh, great.
yep. And very often presidents and other high-ranking officials. This time, President Biden did not, but the Vice President Kamala Harris was there, and she spoke to the crowd and gave a great speech. But it's really incumbent upon us to remind people of these stories and others, and that's what we try to do
You do
here.
a good job of that. Thank you for that.
No, thank you. But I do want to remind people that, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, that tomorrow is Super Tuesday, and it's really important that people get out and vote. If it is, there's about 15, 16 states and an American territory where people will be voting tomorrow in the primaries. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But remember your history, and if you don't, we're doomed to repeat it. And we're getting very close to that. And it's also Ministry Monday. And I just want to remind people that the great William A. McIver is on and talking about prayer and the importance of it. It is how we talk to God. And every Monday she gives us a word, if you will. And check that out in the What You Need to Know newsletter. She does a great job. And she cites, the scriptures and does a really great job at that. And we're really lucky to have her as well. Just as we are all of the contributors, as I say, Coy with social justice, Cameron Riley with political talk, as well as his younger sister Quinn Townsend Riley with LGBTQ plus, and Miss Aprilette Russell, as she likes to call herself, with the mental health and wellness. So check out our newsletter. It's absolutely free. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address. We'd love to have you subscribe. And that is what we do. And it will be in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. All right. So let's move on to, what's really going on. So I had a perfectly wonderful trip in Baltimore, and then I called for a ride share. I called Lyft, and I was juggling back and forth between Lyft and Uber, and it turns out that Lyft gave me a better price, and so the man was waiting when I got
Like
downstairs.
Wendy.
Huh? Like, yeah, it's exactly like Wendy's. Exactly like that. And if you juggle it at the right time, you can really get a deal. And so the man was, he's like, "Oh, let me help you." And he's like, "I got a bum leg." By the time I heard bum leg, I put my suitcase in the trunk and got, "Oh, I got it," And I was like, "Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'm old." And then it's like, fine. So he started out being a very pleasant young man. And then the longer the trip took, he became very unpleasant, very unhappy. And
How long was the trip?
well, it was much longer than it should have been. According to Waze, it should have taken us about 20 minutes. With him, it was about 40, 45 because he drove that slowly.
Shut up, Sybil.
He was trying to rack up
I promise.
his
No.
rate.
So that was the other thing, Coy. He kept saying, I really need a good rating from you. It's like, and the more we talked, the more I was he just had such a sad life. And he was sharing all these observations, how he hates Baltimore, born and raised in Baltimore. The people are mean. And, he's going on and on. And I was like, I've never heard anybody talk about their town like this. And
Black
Trey, no, old
I
white
have.
man.
Ooh.
And so, I promise, and especially with a driver, they usually want to be a good representation for their town, right? He doesn't like the football team. He doesn't like. He's a Yankees fan. He doesn't like the baseball team. He doesn't like, you name it. He doesn't like Lamar Jackson. Well, when he said that, then I was really done with him. But then he's like, so then he's asked me. He asked me where I was from, and I told him Dallas Fort Worth. And he said, "How far are you from Memphis?"
Okay.
Memphis.
Sir, they don't even touch.
No way. And so I said, I'm nowhere near Memphis. Oh, I thought you said you were from Tennessee. I said, no, Texas. And so he's like, oh, you ever been to Graceland? And I was like, no. And I said, but I'm not an Elvis fan. Neither am I, but I like that Graceland. I was like, okay, well, he's before my time. I really, not an Elvis fan. Well, it was before my time too, but I was like, okay, so did you ever go to, then I tried, going on the positive. Did you ever go to an Elvis concert? No, never been to a concert in my life. I was like,
Oh, wow.
this is so sad. This is so sad. He's never been to a concert. He is single. He is conversing with a woman in a foreign country. He sends her money. And
Oh no!
yeah,
Oh
and his
no!
aunt and uncle are always condoning him or condemning him because of his sending this woman money, and she's just using him. And he got angry
Oh
about that, and
no!
how his mother who just died loved this woman, and he sent her with his mother's blessings, her jewelry and stuff, and all of this stuff he's sharing with me, and I was like, God, I wish I had checked off. Don't want a conversation. It just because it just made me so sad. And then, like I said, he was just driving so slow. And so as we get out of the car, and he's trying to get out of the car and get to my bag, and he's like, I really could use a good rating. And I thought, I can't.
Why? Why not?
Because it wasn't being honest.
So give the man the 5.
I gave him a tip, but I didn't give him I didn't give a rating at all. Was I wrong? That's my question.
I guess that's fair.
What would you have done if you had been in a very uncomfortable situation with a taxi driver? Because that's what he is.
Get another one.
Well, I wasn't in a position to say pull over here and I'll wait for Uber or Lyft to come on I-95 to come pick me up.
I probably would have humored his conversations, to be honest. I'm just that kind of person.
Well, I tried, but it was just so sad.
Yeah, me too, Coy. I'd have indulged him because, as Angela said, he was just looking for some conversation.
He really was, and I tried. I mean, when I tell you, we did everything but talk about Donald Trump.
So why not? So I think that it is always an opportunity for us to bring joy and light into somebody's life.
Mm-hmm.
That's our role.
I never told him that he was a lonely, pitiful old white man. I never said that. I didn't say it. I didn't even let it come across my face if that was my thought.
Are we sure that it wasn't your energy?
I promise you. But when he came with I've never been to a concert. I don't like music, and when I play music in the car, nobody likes to hear the music that I like. I said, well, try me. What do you like?
But hold on, just sidebar. Why did it take 40 minutes?
Because he was so slow.
That doesn't
I promise, by the time we got off of the side streets onto the main thoroughfare, onto the interstate, it was 20 minutes. Baltimore is not that complicated, but it was almost as if he was sitting through the green lights.
And you were sitting there with it.
And I was going, and just, counting the time, looking at my watch. Whoo, boy, that flight's good thing it's delayed. But it was just unbelievably slow.
So, as on the other side, my driver, Coy, I left Baltimore. Sybil and I went together, but I left earlier than her, and I had to get a ride from Baltimore to Reagan, which took over an hour. But here's the deal: my driver, his GPS, he could not figure it out. Like, he had it on his phone. It was saying what my GPS was saying, but he couldn't figure it out. And he kept, trying. Wait. So I wouldn't complain. Hey, this is what we gonna do. I need for you to get in this lane. We gonna stay in this lane. We go at 42. Okay, we 1 mile for 42. Come on over to the right hand side. Go exit now.
Oh my gosh!
You go with me and Ward in the car, right? When you're in the passenger seat and you give directions.
I had to get to the airport, and I had an hour and 7 minutes to make it there.
Right.
So you're right, Sybil. I didn't indulge in all of his life because I was giving him instructions on how to get to the airport because he obviously couldn't figure it out. So when the light was green, that was your cue to say the light is green.
I said, look at how all the people in the next lane are going. Look how they're
You gotta
moving.
be a backseat driver.
Look how they're moving.
I don't know what to tell you, Sybil. You were culpable in that. I don't know what to tell you.
Was I culpable when he was in the left-hand lane going about 40 miles an hour? What do you
on the freeway?
Yeah. And when I tell you they were
Dang.
So what do you do? Coy, what would you have done? First of all, would you have given him a tip? And how would you have how many stars would you have given him? Just based upon my description of the ride.
I don't know. I might not have rated him. I might not have rated him if I don't know. I don't know if I would have given him a tip, but he might not have gotten a rating either. Like, if it was that bad.
Yolanda, you would have given him a tip and 5 stars.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because that's just, but nobody here. You got some
I'm gonna put on my RPF resting bitch face.
Oh man.
Indulge, tip, and move on, says Dora Levette Tiggs. I just could not do it. This is our company money. It's not as if I'm, this is not for the people that this is our company money.
Well, can't you write it off on the company's taxes?
Because you know what? Maybe his dog was sick that morning.
He doesn't have a dog. He doesn't have any pets.
He has a foreign girlfriend, Yolanda. That sends money to. Oh goodness, catfish. Ooh.
And I thought about that too, and I was like, "Did you ever think that she? Nope, not gonna go there. Gonna go there. Nope, did not go. Well, it's great that your mother loved her. Okay, Justice, my friend Justice on Facebook says I travel a lot for work, and I would have left the review. I always want to learn from other people's experiences and want to share mine for them, especially in a ride share. I did not leave my disappointment. Aubrey W on YouTube says, I'm with you, Sybil. I would have shut it down because once he mentioned that was enough for me.
Your people are funny.
Aubrey, you and I are right there. But I wonder if we were in the same
your
car.
people are really funny.
Which one of us would have said, we got to go. We got it. Lincell on YouTube, you were right not to give him a rating, Sybil. I would have done the same thing, but I would have told him it sounds like that woman is taking him for a ride, and I don't mean Lyft or Uber.
Right, seriously, for real. Yeah, somebody need to tell him.
Well, he already has his pattern for his relatives that don't like this woman, and his uncle who is dying of colon cancer. And I mean, it was just the saddest thing. It was really sad. And then when I got to Baltimore, the store I wanted to go and shop in, it was closed. But I did get an upgrade, so that was nice. But
so, well, I don't know what this means.
See, just keep in mind it's a ride share, not a taxi.
What is that? What you mean by that?
So, CM, I'm not sure what you mean by that either, but because I did say taxi, but it is a ride share. So I don't know. Maybe you need to explain that for me too. I'm not. Coy, are you familiar?
I
When he
mean,
says it's a
rideshare is more
recreation-
so like you'll share it with other people, but that wasn't the instance. Now it was just a driver that had a lot going
that
on.
shared a lot with me.
All right, Sybil, our girlfriend, Dr. Marks.
Tip and no rating. There you. Thank you, Doc.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you, Doc.
All right. Here's one.
Angela on YouTube, pray because he's dealing with issues. I would have given him a basic rating. What's basic on a 5? Would that have been like a 2.5? I don't know. I don't do rideshare enough. And I usually and you know how I use my rideshare is getting rides for other people.
Yeah.
So,
I don't even have Uber, Uber, Lyft, any of that on my phone. I'm not doing all of that.
because
But Sybil does it for me.
I rarely use it. Probably mostly when I'm traveling, I would say.
Oh, Sybil, last one. I know we gotta go.
Okay. Sonia Maples on YouTube. I'm afraid of people like that. I guess I watch too much Dateline. I thought about that too.
Shut up.
It was getting darker and it was rainy that day. It was very cloudy and overcast. And when he made a sudden turn, I was like, oh God, here we go.
That is so
And I knew that Yolanda wasn't home, and sometimes she doesn't answer her phone.
Oh,
and so
no.
I was thinking of who am I going to
First of all, I always answer my phone for you, but continue with your little story.
So I thought about who's going to be my in case of emergency person because that's what she is. And I thought, who am I going to call? I couldn't call Jay because he wanted to talk politics all day. I couldn't, and George Wallace would have just told me what a beautiful day it was. George, I'm being killed here. I need your help. And so, it's just like, I got nobody. I got nobody. All right, let's move to trending news. A lot of stuff went on today, and I wrote about this. The Supreme Court handed down a decision, and it's in tomorrow's newsletter. So I'll just say that in a unanimous decision, which really wasn't unanimous, but it was, try to figure that out. They said that the states that tried to keep Donald Trump off of those state primary ballots were not justified in doing that, and that he had to be on every ballot, including the states that were taking him to court. That was Colorado and Maine. Illinois was still off to the side because they have their primary in a couple of weeks. But Donald Trump is on the ballot, and that's really what the people who are running against him, President Biden, as well as Nikki Haley, said. Let the people decide. Let it not be a court decision.
Right.
But it was really interesting. They had a unanimous decision, yet 4 of the justices, all women, it gave a dissent of sorts. They gave concurring decisions. But Amy Coney Barrett said, we're really friends, and let's not really make it all, hyped up and all hot and everything, and bring the temperature down a little bit. And the other 3, the brown and the black justice, and as well as Elena Kagan, the Jewish woman, they said they called him what they called him in the Colorado lawsuit, which was it was almost like obsequious insurrectionist or something like that. But they did call him an insurrectionist in their decision. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the case does come before them regarding his immunity. And that case takes place April 22nd. Why it couldn't take place today, I don't know. But a lot of people are thinking that they are doing this on his side so that the cases will be pushed further down the road and that he will have an opportunity to go get on the ballot in the November election and perhaps win. And if he wins, then all of this goes away and he can just.
But Sybil, in my opinion, just to be fair, being not legal or really political, my only thing is I'm glad that they decided what they decided, because I just don't want it on the other side. Democrats seem to be more forgiving and loving and what have you. But if they set the precedent that this is what it is, then once they get in office, they can change it for whatever they want to and say, well, the Supreme Court said you couldn't be on, said that I could say.
Well, the Supreme Court said it's up to Congress to make this decision.
I understand. But if Supreme Court would have said something different, then the other people may have taken this and run with it further on.
Right.
So just close that door.
So
They
what
don't get
what
to
they're
decide.
doing is telling Congress and Democrats, look, you guys need to get your act together and vote your representatives in. And if you
Right.
want this rule to change, then you got to get the majority of people in the House of Representatives and in the Senate to make this change that's in the Constitution,
Right.
the 14th Amendment, because it's not on us.
Yep. Good for them.
And we are forgiving because Democrats are, and I will say that as a more liberal person, are more forgiving because even when Bush versus Gore
Right.
in 2000, and how quickly that happened,
And
and then
just say, okay.
and Al Gore said, okay,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
The other side isn't like that. And so we just don't want to give them any ammunition to fire.
and no more negative energy,
Yeah.
because they're like, okay, we'll just do it the right way.
Yeah.
Although they tried to do it the right way in 2021, and look where that got them, in an insurrection. So tomorrow is Super Tuesday. That means a bunch of states: Alabama, Alaska, which is a Republican primary only, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, and the U.S. territory of American Samoa. One of the things that I wrote, and I did write a lengthy article because I
I
did
saw
want
it
to.
was 5 minutes.
Okay, so but it's a good 5 minutes.
It was a good fight. It was
It
very
was
informative.
but I wanted to inform people about some important issues that are on the ballot and people that are on the ballot. Coy, we can make history in 3 states if these women are voted through the first round. Black women who could be all serve in the United States Senate if they win in November. 3 Black women serving in the United States Senate at the same time. That's never happened. It's been one Black woman here, another Black woman there, and then another Black woman. But it's never been 3. Right now, there's a Black woman, LaFonza Butler, who was appointed by the governor of California to fill the seat of Dianne Feinstein, who died. So here we have Barbara Lee. We have the woman from Barbara Lee's from California. We have one from Maryland, who's a Prince George's Maryland executive, and as well as a representative from Delaware, who's the first Black woman to represent Delaware in the United States Congress. And so if they all win, this would be historic. I don't know what the Congress would do. I don't know what the Senate would do with 3 Black women in there. I relish the idea.
Is that something we could, because you think Barbara Lee really has a shot?
I don't. But that's what I want people, just to remind people that it's not a normal primary, what we're accustomed to, the Democratic primary and the Republican primary. This is where they're all together. And the 2 most popular candidates are 2 white men,
right.
A former baseball player,
right.
as well as Adam Schiff, who is a leader in the United States Congress, in the United States House. And so Steve Garvey is, the jock, and very popular amongst the rich Republicans and what have you. And so he has no competition on the Republican side. So and so they're all in there together. It's Barbara Lee. I can't remember the other woman, Congresswoman, and Adam Schiff among the Democrats, and then Steve Garvey. And right now, if the polls are to be believed, it's going to be Adam Schiff and Steve Garvey, and Barbara Lee is going to go back to the United States Congress, which breaks my heart.
And that's name recognition too.
Yeah, and money.
And money.
Because getting in order to get name recognition, you gotta spend for ads and get your person.
Or you could be an actor
or a baseball player, right?
An athlete.
Yeah. So that is what's going on, and there's a Black man who's running for office in North Carolina, and he's running as a Republican. And he was compared to Martin Luther King by Donald Trump the other day. Just want you to be aware of those comparisons.
Why we just can't ignore some stuff?
Foot on the neck, Yolanda.
Thank you, Coy.
Do you live here?
I can.
Ward White understands Coy better
Oh
than.
my goodness.
Um,
Okay.
this also breaks my heart. Increasingly powerful gangs have attacked prisons and the airport serving Haiti's capital in recent days, forcing businesses and schools to close as hundreds of people are trying to flee. Heavily armed gangs have grown more powerful than Haiti's weak government, and they now control some 80% of the capital, according to the United Nations. And the latest attacks began Thursday when the Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, flew to Kenya to push for UN backed deployment of a police force to help them fight the gangs. And the gangs want Henri out as prime minister. And so they're willing to do anything that it takes. But it breaks my heart as we have been there and we're there after the earthquake in Haiti, and some of the most beautiful people, and trying to see them working so hard to put their country back together. And now it's come down to this. It's very sad.
It's sad, Sybil. And it just seems like from political to natural disaster, Haiti just can't get a break.
I can't get a break.
What can but it's nothing we can do to really help them, or is it?
Well, if the United Nations does come in and bring in troops to try to bring some sort of calm to the city, to the capital, as to what the rest of the country, that's a start. But you have to look at politics, and you go back to their history with Duvalier and Baby Doc and all of that, and how
that's a lot.
that has not worked. And so it's a history that keeps repeating itself, and it's very sad. It's very sad. Speaking of sad, I don't know if Yolanda, I don't know if this really means nothing to you. Only to say that Sierra's husband lost his job today.
He did?
Oh, goodness, I didn't see that.
Yeah. The Denver Broncos announced they have officially parted ways with quarterback Russell Wilson before his 5-year extension kicked in, just 2 years after the franchise made a huge move.
But he gets all his money, right?
Not all of it, but he gets a nice check for 1 year. The 9-time Pro Bowler was acquired by Denver from the Seattle Seahawks in 2022 for 3 players and a package of picks that included 2 first-round selections and 2 second-rounds. So they gave up a lot for him. And in September, he signed a 5-year extension, $245 million extension with the Broncos. They announced it will release him when the new league begins next Wednesday. And he was due to have his 2025 salary of $37 million be fully guaranteed on March 17th, but they're cutting him loose a couple of days before. But his 2024 salary of $39 million is guaranteed.
They did not want to pay him.
But $39 million.
How did he throw 39 million worth this season?
He did not have a good season with the new coach, Sean Payton.
Okay.
Sean Payton left.
This is second year there, 2 years.
Second year, yeah.
Did the first year did he do $39 million worth of work?
That's hard to say. I'm not sure that he did.
Okay.
But there are a lot of
straighten your face, Coy. If he didn't produce,
I didn't say anything. I'm just wondering where he's going to go, because now I know the conversation is going to be, is he going to come to Atlanta? I already know what the conversation is going to be on my timeline. That's going to be the first part. But I wonder where else would he go?
That's the question. That is exactly where he will go. Some say that he could end up being a backup. I don't see that. But I don't think he's the kind of player who say, no, I'm not going to be backup for a good team. Others think that he could start in Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson could be a great sport analyst. Ryan Scott
is boring as heck. I can't.
Well, he might be a good analyst, and they don't have to be the color and commentary.
But see, is he ready to retire?
I don't think so.
Me neither.
So the cities they're talking about, Pittsburgh, I would love to see him go play for the black coach there. New England also has a new black coach. And Atlanta, which also has a black coach, right?
Future gonna be upset. Future gonna be upset.
That's what you got out of this.
So ain't gonna be pretty in Atlanta.
So, that discussion probably is Sierra's like, not Atlanta, baby. Sorry. Before this announcement, Sean Payton maintained in the offseason that they had not ruled out the possibility of a return for Wilson, but it seemed like the writing was on the chalkboard there that he and he and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson just were oil and water. They were not getting along. He benched him for the last 2 games of the season. And so this is what a class act he is on his page. He said he was grateful for his time in Colorado. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. And
Amen.
adding, God's got me. I'm excited for what's next.
Amen.
And so good for him.
Good for
LeBron James, they're talking about what's going to happen to LeBron after he scored his 40,000th point over the weekend. The first NBA player to score 40,000. Unfortunately, they also lost that night to the Denver Nuggets. And rumors have been floating about him leaving the Lakers, but his agent, Rich Paul, that's Adele's baby daddy, shut down the rumors, telling ESPN he won't be traded and we aren't asking to be. For now, it's safe to assume the greatest player of his generation will remain a Los Angeles Laker, especially since the deadline passed. So, Coy, you're a Lakers fan of sorts. What do you think about LeBron?
I think LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time. There's not a lot that you can say that's bad about LeBron. I appreciate him as a player. I appreciate him as a father, as a husband. His wife, love her. No controversy. I see neither one of them in controversy. So I think he's a great example on and off the court. He really has. Now, rough start at the beginning, not with the Lakers, but when he played in Ohio and when he played in Miami, certain aspects of his sportsmanship I just couldn't get with back then, with him walking off.
And I thought that's
walking off the court.
He could have used some maturity if he had gone to play in college, but he's one of those that went straight from high school into the pros, and could have used a little, coaching and maybe some maturing, as I said, in college basketball. But you can't deny that he hasn't turned out well.
Excellent player. Can't argue with that. I was, a Kobe fan. Rest in peace to Kobe and his daughter Gianna, which is horrible. Still sad to this day about that. But when LeBron went to the Lakers, that was like boom in my face for me, because I was like, I don't like LeBron, and I had to learn to like him. I had to start paying attention to who he is as a person. I had to start paying attention to his stats, how he plays, and how he works with other teams, and just really kind of take that into consideration instead of being, a LeBron hater, because I was for a while. I'm not gonna lie, but I think he's a great addition to the team, and I'm glad he's not retiring yet. I don't think he's gonna retire for a while.
When he took his talents to Miami, but I wasn't a Cleveland fan. I'm not a Miami fan, and I just like good basketball, and I grew up as a Jordan person. So what can I tell you? And this is the last thing. If anybody cares, Travis Kelce's big brother retired from the Philadelphia Eagles today. Jason Kelce retired, and it was a cry fest. I don't like men who cry. I just don't like men.
Really, Sybil?
I don't. You get 3 good cries, and one of them involves your mama. And this was retiring from football. I don't get the crying. I don't get the tears. But anyway,
it's a part of his life. He's emotional.
Right? Yeah. And he got paid very well, as Yolanda will remind me. He got paid very well for that. Tears don't. There's no crying in football.
He probably doesn't know what he's going to do next.
He knows. Trust me.
He does?
And believe. Oh, yeah. He's going to go out and become, somebody's pitch man.
He's going to be bigger.
Yeah. He's going to be bigger than his sister-in-law to be.
Yeah. The only way I know him is not from football, but his personality is how I know of him.
Right.
He's going to be bigger. He got a big future ahead of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. And if not, he'll be Taylor's security. In the wake of every sport, this is entertainment, by the way. In the wake of every sports report featuring Iowa's Caitlyn Clark setting a college basketball scoring record, you couldn't turn on a TV last week without, and she beat and she's better than, and she.
But she is.
She is. But I say that they're only doing that because of the contretemps that she had with Angel Reese last year in the basketball.
That is so unfair. She is that because she is, and she broke. Sybil, what is? Okay, it's just me.
No, Yolanda, I hear you, but I think that Angel Reese has gotten a bad rap because
this has nothing to do. What this young lady did had nothing to do with. Why are we bringing that in?
Because that's the way they think.
Shut up, girl.
But here's the beauty. Shaq went to LSU. He's an LSU. That's his alma mater. He went back to LSU for senior game day, and he escorted Angel Reese and her mom, who's also named Angel, out into the court during their senior day celebration. He wore a shirt that said, "Bayou Barbie is my favorite senior." That's what they call her. And he's become a mentor for Angel since her
Beautiful.
rise to fame at his alma mater. Of course, he was drafted by Orlando back in 1992 before Angel was even born. But he has stayed in touch with her, and especially
Oh,
after
that's
last year
beautiful.
when all this was going on between Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese. And he came to her defense against the online trolls who didn't support her rise to fame. And that's what I'm talking about, Yolanda. He really understood how brutal and vicious people were against this young woman. And during
And
during
I
the
agree. I just don't think we have to take away from somebody else's achievement in order to
well,
highlight what has happened. That's all I'm saying.
okay, okay, all right.
Because this young lady, she achieved what she achieved.
Right, she did. But everybody wanted to, just say, forget about Angel and let's just concentrate on Kate.
But we should forget about Angel because this wasn't Angel's moment. This was her moment.
But they took it away from Angel when it was her moment.
Right.
How old are you?
It's not fair.
It's not.
Okay.
She said, "How old are you?"
I don't like it. And I don't even tweet, Yolanda, but last year when when the first lady wanted to invite both teams,
Right.
both Iowa, and I was like, no, don't do that. They didn't win. They don't deserve that. And Angel Reese deserved it. And it's like, well, maybe invite both girls in the teams. And I'm like, no, that's what they do. It's
So,
not right. It's not
hold on for a
fair.
second. I just have to put this up here because this is my life.
Poison Ivy on YouTube. I often wish I lived in the world of sunshine and rainbows. Yolanda does. Me too, Poison
And this
Ivy.
is bliss.
Me
You should
too.
come in.
Yeah.
It is bliss.
But ignorance is bliss too, right? So, and I love her. She's my dearest person in the whole wide world. Let's close out with a jewel.
Before we do that, I have an announcement right quick. I have a correction. See that?
Oh.
Correction.
It's a reward,
Lord
right?
White the Great did not sleep on
Nikki.
Candace. It was a function of industry forces and timing.
Oh, let's get it straight. Good for you, Ward.
Really?
Right. And it's probably written in triplicate.
You're silly.
With carbon paper in between.
All right, you and Coy will be getting a copy of this.
Your personal records.
Oh, you silly.
Yolanda's going to leave us with a jewel.
Yes. Embrace aging gracefully by accepting the beautiful journey of growing older.
Would you send that to my Lyft driver?
Oh, well, that was for me.
Oh,
Yeah, that was really for me.
really?
Oh, the OLD is kicking in, Sybil.
Really?
Really.
Huh.
Although I have something that I want to tell you right quick. So Coy, today I had to go take care of some business. Okay, I'll make this really quick. So I'm getting the transaction from the lady, and she's like, "Oh, Miss White, oh, you look so pretty." She's like, "Are you pregnant?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, no, but thank you for thinking that I am young enough to be pregnant." And so that's that rainbow and butterflies. I didn't take the other. I took it as
So you didn't say, hell no, B, I ain't pregnant. You didn't do that at all, did you?
right. No,
You
no.
got it from the
All I
positive.
heard was the compliment, Coy,
Right. That is a
and I
compliment.
received it.
Coy, you have not reached the age where that no longer is a compliment. Okay.
Not yet. I don't even think I'll look like that when that happens either. So
No, you will. You will. We're beautiful. So let us say goodbye. Thank you, Coy. Great job. And we're going to have a little bit of Radio 101 over the coming week. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Yolanda, thanks for joining us. And,
Thank
and,
you. It was
and
fun.
let's go rainbows and blue skies, everyone.
Yes.
For the rest of the week.
Aloha.
Yep. Aloha.